everyone. Welcome to today's Whiteboard Wisdom session. I'm Dr. Jordan Rigby, Assessment Director of ViewPoint Center. Today we're going to be talking about errors in thinking. So sometimes we act like really bad, lazy scientists, where we have these beliefs and these things we take as fact based on very flawed logic, reasoning, like predictions, very, very terrible methods. All right? And those are essentially cognitive distortions or errors in thinking, where we make a lot of little decisions that are flawed, essentially. Now, a lot of times people think that it's the big decisions that like lead to our emotions, that impact our emotions. This isn't true. It's the moment-to-moment small decisions that lead to how we feel, how we believe about certain things. And sometimes those are errors in how we interpret that situation. So I like to think of it as kind of like when we're driving from point A to point B, we're going to hit a stop sign. We're going to hit something that gets in the way. Those are like our errors in thinking. We all do them. Sometimes, however, those errors in thinking, they spiral out of control and they become problematic. They can take like a challenging or an adverse situation and just balloon it up into something bigger than it really is, going from like bad to worse. And even in good situations, even in like favorable situations, we can have errors in thinking that result in a poor outcome. And so what we try and avoid is these errors becoming automatic. And to give you a couple of examples of some automatic thoughts, are like overgeneralization, where we take a little bit of evidence and we apply it to everything. There's also one called like personalization, where we take everybody's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and we like apply it to ourselves. Like it impacts us, it's because of us or something like that. There's tons of them out there. There's lots of different kinds that we do in different situations with different people. Feel free to look them up. Where the problem comes is when we take these errors in thinking and they become automatic patterns. It's like a lens that we view the world through. And sometimes in those situations, it leads to disruptions in mood. It leads to poor self-esteem. It can also lead to like rocky relationships based on very faulty information. And so what we want to do is challenge them. And before we can challenge them, we have to recognize them. We have to recognize the errors in thinking so that we can kind of apply more logical, rational, balanced thought process to them. To give us some tips on how to do this, I've asked Bailey, one of our primary therapists, to come in and give us some pointers. So Bailey? All right.
Yes. Thanks, Jordan. So I'm Bailey Rinaldi. I'm a primary therapist at ViewPoint Center, and I'm happy to be on Whiteboard
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Yes. So we're going to talk about cognitive behavioral therapy and family dynamics. So cognitive behavioral therapy is where you are going in and challenging those thoughts and challenging those thinking errors. Mm-hmm. And I also want to talk about how it plays in with how you interact with your family, with either with your parents or with your kiddo or anything like that. So thinking errors, as you were talking about, really are a distorted perception, not seeing things as accurately as you could, which then comes to different perspectives. So everyone, the whole family can be in a room together watching one situation go down, and then everyone can walk away from it having a totally different perspective
with
on
the
what
same
happened.
Thing happening, different perspectives,
Yeah. So depending on what kind of mental filters you have going on or thinking errors you have going on, you can take totally different perception from what happened, which then creates a lot of family tension and discord, because when you try to work on the situation, everybody has different ideas of what kind of went down. Mm-hmm. So how to work on it? The first step, or one of the steps, is awareness, like you were talking about. Recognizing your thinking errors, recognizing what you're using that's impacting yourself negatively. So am I trying to tell the future? Am I trying to mind read? Am I like using only black and white thinking with no gray area? Really becoming aware of what you're doing to impact yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we go into challenging negative thoughts. So we want to come in with the rationale. We want to come in with the logic and check the facts. Is this something that's accurate? Am I putting my own stuff into this situation? So I'm taking away something that isn't really accurate, like personalization, like you were talking about. Then practice and patience. We weren't born having these thinking errors. It kind of becomes habit as we go through life. So it does take practice and patience to kind of break those down a little bit and train our brains to think in a different way and train our brains to be aware of what we're doing to impact ourselves and what we can do differently, so that as time goes on, it becomes actually habit to not use thinking errors, which is the overall goal.
This is when I think a lot of people forget, is that this is a skill. This is something you have to work at and be able to practice and get better at. So it's not going to come easy. It's going to take work.
Yeah, it's not that instant gratification, but once you get there, it's one of the most gratifying things you can do, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the last one being coping skills. You're going to have, if you have these mental filters going on, you have these cognitive distortions going on, it's going to cause a lot of emotions in you, and you're going to have to be able to recognize, how can I deal with this in an appropriate way, so that you can then be aware of what you're doing, challenge your thoughts, really put it into practice.
Be able to apply this stuff.
Yeah, so you have to first kind of keep yourself in check. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bailey. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us at ViewPoint Center. We're happy to answer any. Thanks.